We're joined in studio by Dr. ABC Okokoh, President of the Ohaneze Ndi-Igbo South Africa Charter. Dr. Okokoh, very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us in studio. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on your program.
Now, firstly, as we listen to the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Schriber, what we just heard is that of those group of Nigerians who left this morning, not one of them was here legally. What is your reaction to that?
Well, thank you once more again. When you listen to what the Home Affairs Minister has said, he has not said anything that is new. Undocumentation is a systemic problem across board. Even there are South Africans who are undocumented. So now that goes back to his department. What are they doing to get these people documented? There are cases where some of these people have applied for renewal of their permit or extension of their visas. They were not even responded to. And what do you expect those people to become? They will just be like not going anywhere because they don't have any kind of assistance or any way to go to be able to help so that they can actually be in the country legal. So the issue of undocumentation, when we raise it, we must also put it in context. In context that Home Affairs should also try as much as possible to speed up the response time. Because whenever people apply, they must have a sort of a kind of answer, whether to say you are not desired, you should go back or you should not go back. So there are instances where people applied, they never got any response from Home Affairs, even though they paid for that permit. That money goes like that. And these people, since they don't have permit, they can't even work. They can't do anything. So they will be stranded. And that is what has happened to most of these Nigerians. And that's the reason why the federal government of Nigeria have to step in to help them to go back home. Because they are stranded, they can't afford to buy the air ticket because they are not working in South Africa. To live in South Africa is like a struggle for them. It's actually very, very traumatic to most of them.
What is your sentiment on what Nigerian authorities have said? I mean, we've listened and seen, for one, the facilitation with the group of Malawians who left. I mean, you can see that there's a clear communication between the two governments. What is your sense on Nigeria and the authorities there? And, you know, you talk about a desperate situation here. That's what you're describing, that, you know, there's a lot of people who are stranded, perhaps, and, of course, some who are not really. But for those who do want to go home, what is the reaction and what have you heard from Nigerian authorities?
Well, for now, the most important thing is to actually save the situation in terms of what is on ground. The areas of diplomacy, I may not comment much about that because Nigeria and South Africa has gone a long way in terms of diplomatic relations and in terms of also collaboration in other areas. So I think that is another ballgame entirely. What is actually facing us here is a situation whereby people are traumatized, they are being abused, they are being actually manhandled, and violence are not being against them are not being actually tackled. Even though I know that there's condemnation from maybe the government to say, no, you must not take laws into your hand.
Yes.
But then it ends on rhetoric. There is no action to say these people who are doing these things, they must be held accountable. And the moment you start doing that, the government of Nigeria will know, yes, their South African counterpart is actually doing something against what is happening to their citizens in terms of Nigerian citizens. So that is exactly what happened. So the issue of diplomacy is a process. It's something I think they have to sit down on a round table and be able to engage themselves. They know how to make up. But what I'm trying to say, for the common man, those who have been actually taken back home, they evacuated because most of them are afraid of their safety.
So what is your understanding on the current situation on the ground? I mean, yes, you on one end, you speak about the issues around, documentation, policy, and some of the loopholes in the system as you talk to some of the issues when it comes to processing by Home Affairs and authorities in South Africa. But when it comes to the bottom line on why things have escalated to such heights, what is your understanding, having listened to what South Africans are saying, of course condemning the violent nature if that has to come up in some instances, which we have seen. But what is your understanding? Are you hearing what South Africans are saying when it comes to ensuring that if you are in South Africa and you are not documented, that you should ensure that there is documentation. You can't just leave home without your clothes, basically.
Let me help you in this area. You see, nobody will want to go into any country without his documents, without actually obeying the laws of those country or wherever he or she finds himself.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing. You need to have your document so that you can live your life, conduct your activities genuinely and in a legitimate manner. And the moment you don't have document, you are not part of the system. So any rational man, we want to have a document.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, almost all these people we are seeing, in fact, all of them, I won't say almost, all of them, they would have liked to have their documents properly and in a very palatable manner to keep themselves here in South Africa. Not necessarily to say that they are being chased because of document. So some of them is shameful and it's very, very embarrassing to see somebody asking you, where is your document? Only for you to come up with stories. How do you explain that?
How do we fix this? How we fix it? I mean, you hear this minister mentioning the measures he have already put in place to be able to ensure that these things don't happen in the manner it is. Remember, these things have been there for some time. It's not just it was an overnight something. And if we tie it to issue of xenophobia, remember since 2008, when xenophobic attacks have started, I think we have not also done much to address what is exactly the problem. We just call it xenophobic attack. Nobody has been able to go to the root of that cause. And that reason why every time it will resurface. And to me, I just look at it as a cry of desperation, because many people are very desperate, they are frustrated, there are underlying grievances that has not been tackled, and these things need to be tackled. It's not just about talking about migrants or undocumented migrants. It's also talking about how do you make the population, the masses, to be able to have sense of ownership of the country, not to be, treated as if that they are also beggars in their own country. Yeah.
So those are some of the challenges, but it's not something you can do or can tackle overnight.
Yes.
It's a process. But another thing we must understand that when you have a systemic problem, you need a systemic change. And a systemic change deserves that you must do things step by step, carefully, to be able to implement. So it's not just about talking, we are going to do this and that. But the issue is the political will, the implementation. That's
Absolutely.
the most important thing.
And very quickly, before we let you go, Dr. Okokoh, what message do you have to Nigeria? I mean, you speak about a very tense situation when you talk about some of the trauma which comes with this push. What message do you have to Nigerian citizens who are here undocumented at this time when tensions are flaring up at such levels?
The message I will have will be tied to what government of the day or government of this country have for them. If government of this country says to them, come and legalize yourself, for example, they should go and legalize themselves. If government of the country says, we don't want you, they should go home. But then the issue is, rather than people taking laws into their hand, abusing others, trying to make others to look as if they are not human beings, as if they don't have their own human rights. I know you cannot just because of your own human right, you step on other people's toes because you feel that you have your own human right is more superior than that of others. We are all human beings, so we must be treated with dignity and respect.
Yeah.
So that is my message to my people is, whatever the government says, of course, South Africa says you should do, please abide by the law.
Yeah.
Because this country, and by the way, any other country should be a country of law. There's not be a country of people doing things the way they want.
Yeah, very well. Thank you so much for coming in studio to speak to us there. Really, Dr. ABC Okokoh, President of the Ohaneze Ndi-Igbo South Africa chapter.